Hey y'all, welcome to Criminally Creative, a podcast about my various creative endeavors. Today is Saturday, November 30th, 2019, and this is episode 13. It's been a long time since I've done a podcast, so if you have watched me before and you're back again, I really appreciate you coming back again. If you're brand new and you have never seen my podcast before, I appreciate you checking me out, and hopefully you'll stick around, and hopefully I won't be 9 months getting back this time. It's Thanksgiving weekend here in the U.S. If you are in the U.S. or celebrate Thanksgiving wherever you are, I hope you've had an enjoyable weekend. We spent Thursday at my parents' house, which is about an hour and a half north of us. My sister and her family are in from California, and my brother and his family came over, and my daughter and her family were able to come up, so we had a lot of family together. Unfortunately, my son and his family are out in Arizona. He's in the Army, so they weren't able to make it, but it was good to see everybody that we did see. So I had a little time this weekend, so I decided it was finally time to get another podcast recorded. I'll jump right into hearsay and let you know where I've been. I last podcasted the end of February, and I told you at that time, if you have seen that one, that I was getting ready to go into a busy period of work, and my hope was to podcast at least once a month. Obviously, that did not happen. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, I work for the North Carolina General Assembly, which is the North Carolina State Legislature. It has been a crazy session. They really just went home a couple weeks ago, and from February until about August or September, I really was working 70, 80 hours almost every week. And so what downtime I did have on the weekends, which was usually only on Saturdays, I would craft rather than trying to get things together to podcast. I just didn't have the brain space for it. So anyway, life happens. That's the way it goes. But I'm back now, and hopefully I will be able to podcast at least once a month, maybe a little more frequently. We'll see. I do this really because I enjoy it, and I like to share what I'm doing with others. So it's not all about, while I'd love to have lots of people watch me, if I don't, that's not the end all be all to me. So I will be here when I can be, and hopefully those of you who enjoy it will watch when I am. So anyway, I'm not going to try to do everything I've done in the past 9 months, everywhere I've been, everything I've knit, all that stuff, but I'm just going to hit a few highlights. In the past couple of months, fall is pretty busy for me as far as fiber events go, so I did go to SAF the last weekend in October. That is the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair, which is held in Fletcher, North Carolina, just outside of Asheville every year. So I went to that again this year with my friends Michelle and Peggy, and I drove up Wednesday night because I took an all-day class Thursday. And then Friday we went to SAF and shopped all day and hung out. Saturday we got up and drove to Black Mountain because Black Mountain Yarn Shop was having an indie extravaganza with several independent vendors. And so we did that Saturday morning and had lunch at our favorite restaurant, Veranda, in Black Mountain. And then we went to the shoe store, and then we were really tired, so we just decided to go back to our Airbnb and rest Saturday afternoon. And then Sunday we got up and went to SAF again for a while and did a little bit more shopping, and my friend Peggy took a class and, just kind of piddled around and headed home Sunday. So the Airbnb we stayed at was a goat farm, and it was great. They had goats and they had horses, and I think they had a cow. I think they had a cow. I don't remember if it was a cow or not. There were some pigs. There were a couple dogs running around. There were chickens. It was great. We had a blast feeding the goats and the horses and everything in the morning and just hanging out. So that was a lot of fun. And it was relatively close to the fairgrounds, so it wasn't too far away from everything. So SAF was a lot of fun. 2 weeks after that, the next 2 weekends after that, I went to Carolina Fiber Frolic, which is also in the mountains of North Carolina in Sapphire Valley. And the fall Carolina Fiber Frolic is retreat only. It's just hang around, sit and knit, chat with your friends, do whatever craft you want. And so that was a really nice little bit of downtime, particularly, like I said, because work has been crazy. And even then, I was supposed to be off that Thursday and Friday for Frolic. I ended up having to work Thursday and drive up to Frolic very late Thursday night, but I was able to go. And the event's actually Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I just usually take the day off Thursday to take my time driving up and piddle on my way up there. But anyway, so those are the two most recent events I went to. And I think that's really about all I'm going to highlight right now. I'm going to get into a few verdicts. Again, I'm not going to show you everything that I have done in the past 9 months. Quite honestly, I really haven't finished a lot more than what I'm going to show you, just because my knitting time has been severely cramped. But I have gotten some things done, and I'm going to show you a few of them, and I want to highlight a couple of different things. The first is the one that I'm wearing. So I'm on the board for the Carolina Fiber Fest, which is an event held in Raleigh, North Carolina, every year in March. This year it is, oh, I should have written the dates down. I believe it's March 13th and 14th. It's whatever that Friday and Saturday is. 13th and 14th, maybe 14th and 15th. I'm sorry, I should have looked that up. So, and one of the things I'm responsible for is a craft along that we do every year. We ask for submissions, and we get some very generous designers who submit submissions and allow us to use their pattern as our craft along patterns, and those are available free on our website, which is www.carolinafiberfest.org. And if you go there, you'll see a drop down that you can pull that and download those patterns for free. We do both a crochet pattern and a knit pattern so that we can get as many people as possible. And anyway, so this is our crochet pattern for this year. It is called Unexpectedly Angular. It was designed by Connie Lee Lynch. Connie Lee is also going to be teaching a couple of classes at Carolina Fiber Fest in March. So one of those classes, I think, is about getting started on this pattern, and I believe the other is something about using the Fibonacci sequence in your crochet. But don't hold me to that. Those classes should be up hopefully soon on the website to sign up for. So check those out as well. But anyway, so this is the Unexpectedly Angular cowl. Excuse me. I don't do a ton of crochet, so this was it was challenging for me because I kept ending up like one stitch short every row, and I finally realized that I was not getting the top of the double chain as I turned to do the single chain row. So anyway, the nice thing about this is there's a couple different ways you can wear it. I've got it like this right now. I'm gonna take it off just so I can show you the full shape of it. So it's basically a long rectangle with this unexpectedly angular section at the end. And you can do it like this. Another way to wear it, there's several different ways to wear it, and Connie in the pattern shows you some examples. So like you could do it like this and have the point going up. I need to reblock mine and stretch it out a little bit more. I didn't quite get gauged. My crochet is apparently a little bit tighter than hers, so I need a little bit more length on mine to really be able to wear it appropriately. But and the pattern gives you instructions for not instructions, but several options for how you can do buttons. You know, she has one in the pattern that shows multiple buttons down the front. What I did is I had this awesome, well, first of all, let me tell you, the yarn for this is Unplanned Peacock Sock. This is one of her self-striping colorways that was just 2 colors. So as you can see, it didn't complete stripe, but I like the way it kind of zigzag, kind of did a gradiated stripe. I thought it worked out pretty well. But I had this button already in my stash. This is a button made by Sue Dial of Mooncat Designs, Mooncat Creations. I'm not sure if she has a website. I know she vends at SAF every year. And she also, there's a store in Asheville, I think, that has some of her stuff. But anyway, but what I did is because there's several different ways to wear it, and I didn't want to limit myself, I guess, is I just put, and I'm going to take this off to show you what I did. I took that big button, and then I just put a smaller button that was small enough to go just through the double crochet chains, but big enough that it wouldn't pop back out easily. And I just ran a little bit of yarn. I don't know if you can even see because they're so close together. But, I mean, I just made a loop and tied them together. So I can move this wherever I want to by putting the smaller backer button through a double crochet wherever I want it on the front, and then through the other piece of the cowl, you know, once I get it situated around my neck or whatever. So that's what worked best for me. But anyway, so I encourage you, if you crochet, or you know, it's not really a difficult pattern, even if you're not if you're a beginner crocheter, because I wouldn't say I'm a beginner, but I don't do it enough to be really good at it. So like I said, I definitely had to mark my first and last stitch on every row, just so I made sure I kept the same stitch count, you know, eventually. And so that was the crochet pattern for Carolina Fiber Fest. And we also have a knit pattern, and the knit pattern is also a cowl this year. And this is called Tiger Owl. Sorry, mine has been folded up in a bag for a while, so it's a little crinkly. But this is designed by Greg Cahoon, and you may know him as Knitting Daddy. He is Knitting Daddy on Ravelry, and he is also is one of podcasts in the Unraveling podcast, which is an audio-only podcast that he does with my friend and fellow board member Pam Maher, who is Fibercrafty. So this is knit. This is done in Twist Fiber Studios Ashland Sport in the Mother of Pearl colorway, excuse me. And I should have said on the crochet, I did that on an F hook, 3.75 millimeter. I did this knit pattern on a US 5, 3.75 millimeter now needle. So this is a not super close fitting cowl, but you know, not super long. But the pattern is very easy to extend. So if you wanted, you know, I typically actually prefer my cowls to be the kind that kind of, the infinity scarf type that kind of hang down in a big loop and that you can double up if you want to. But this pattern would be very easy to adapt to that just by adding extra repeats. And I mean, of course, you would need more yarn. We try to make our pattern something that can be done with one skein if possible, so that they are approachable to people who, you know, who don't feel like they're giant projects, and also so that you don't have to go out and buy, you know, 5 or 6 skeins of yarn to be able to participate in our craft along. So both of those patterns are free on our website. Also on the Carolina Fiber Fest Ravelry group, there are threads for both of those patterns, and both designers, Connie Lee Lynch and Greg Cahoon, are monitoring those threads and answering questions if you have any. If you have any problems, or you can just show pictures as you go, or what yarn you're going to use. But I would encourage you to join along in that. Hopefully if you're coming to Carolina Fiber Fest, but even if you're not, join us for the craft along. We'd appreciate it. A couple other patterns I wanted to show you are 2 patterns that are designed by my friend Martha. She is Martha Emily on Ravelry. Excuse me. One pattern she released back in March, but obviously since I haven't been here, I haven't been able to show it to you. And I did test knit this for her. This is called Swish Shawl, and it's kind of a, you know, it's one of those starts skinny, gets wider, but it has more of a curve to it. Shawl on my face. I did this in Twist Fiber Studios Montford fingering, which is their base that has, I think, a little bit of cashmere in it. And the colors are the more blue is Crystal Blue Persuasion, and then the more variegated is called Carolina Dewdrops. The Carolina Dewdrops was their 2018, they're a vendor at Carolina Fiber Fest, and this was their 2018 colorway for Fiber Fest, but I believe that she continues to make this color. I don't think it was exclusive to that event. So this was knit on a US 5 3.75 millimeter needle. I wear it more like this, and didn't bring it, but I have a shawl pin that I wear. The pattern actually gives you instructions for like an I-cord that you can then run through a couple of different places and kind of tie off. And there's several different ways to wear this one. And Martha does a much better job in the pattern and on the pattern page of, isn't that funny? I just found looked up and there's a piece of stray wool yarn stuck to one of my bins. Anyway, she does a much better job in the, pattern and on her pattern page of showing you some different ways you can wear it and stuff. But I wanted to show you this, and this is called the Swiss Shawl by Martha Emily. And another pattern that I test knit for Martha, but I do not believe she has released yet, is called Carolina Poncho, and this is a very large brioche poncho. I'm going to put it on. I need to, because one yarn I used to superwash, my neck has stretched out, and I need to, I don't know if you can see. I'm not sure how well I'm doing at showing all that. I will try to show it better. But this is a brioche poncho that I did. So the one side where it's mostly light blue, the light blue is Miss Babs Yowza in faded, and then a little bit as you get to the bottom is a little slightly deeper blue. I don't know if you can see the difference in that. That's stone washed. But then the other side, which is the side that I tend to wear out, is all hand spun that I'd made. And the top up here where you've got the green with a little bit of orange and red is Three Waters Farms in the tic-tac-toe colorway in a Polworth silk blend. And then the bulk of it, the green, the multiple shades of green, is also Three Waters Farms in Falkland in the colorway Shadows and Conifers. And then the end, which has some green but brings in some more brown, is created by LCB, and this is Polworth in the colorway Root Beer Float. So I have a lot more of that root beer left over, so it will end up going in something else. So, but what I really like about this pattern, and again, like I said, my neckline, because I used some superwash, has stretched out a little more. I wore this one day. So I need to go back and probably do like a single crochet or something around the edge to keep that from happening so much. But what I like about it is she's got this little notch. Let's see if you can see it. I don't know. It's a little notch there that if you wear it in the front makes it look like kind of a little bit of a V-neck, or you can wear it on your shoulder or whatever. But anyway, this one took me a little while. Of course, I started it and then it got set aside to finish something else, and then I picked it back up again. And but I really enjoyed it, and I like doing brioche, so it was a lot of fun. And I am hoping to get some really good use out of that this winter, if it will stay cold enough. And I forgot to write down what size needle I used on that. I think I used a US 8, but I don't. I have project pages on Ravelry for all this, so if you really need to know what needle size I used, you can go look there, but I think it was a US 8. Okay, so I have continued this year to do the Desert Vista Dye Works 5th annual monthly sock knit along. So I have a stack of socks. So I showed you January at some point. Those are upstairs in the sock bin being worn, but these have all been sitting in my craft room waiting for me to podcast. So I have 10 months of socks to show you. I am not going to put them all on sock blockers because there's just so many of them. So I'm just going to kind of run through each of them and what the colorway is, and show them to you that way. So February was the Grand Budapest Hotel. All of these are knit on US 0 2mm needles out of Desert Vista Dye Works Viso sock base. They're all just a vanilla toe-up sock with I do a Judy's Magic cast on. Ooh, that's blowing out. Judy's Magic cast on at the toe. I do a Fish Lips Kiss Heel. I knit the leg. The participation requirements require the leg to be at least 3 inches. I usually do about 4 inches. I don't like my sock legs to come real far up my leg, so I usually do 4 to 5 inches and then I'm done. But anyway, so this was February, which was Grand Budapest Hotel. March was Ireland. And as you can tell, I try to somewhat kind of theme, you know, green for March and Ireland for St. Patrick's Day, pink for February Valentine's Day. April was Belfast, and I just thought that was a springy, Eastery, April-y looking color. May was Walvis Bay. Again, just felt like May to me. June was Doors. There was no logic to this one other than I really liked the colorway and wanted to knit it up. July was Stranger Things, which I knit in July because the new season of Stranger Things started in July. August was Zoas, Z-O-A-S. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Again, just the color I felt like knitting that month. There was no real logic to that one. September was the Gold Coast. October, and probably my favorite ones I've knit all year, are the Martian. I love this movie, but I love these colors. This is not colors I can really wear next to my face because they turn me yellow and orange, and they're not my precious blues and purples, but man, I just really love this color combination. And then for November, I decided to do kind of a Christmassy like color, so I'd have some to wear for Christmas. This is called Norwegian Sea. As you can see, it's like a red and a kind of spruce green, a creamy white, and then a kind of a light gray. So those will get some definite wear this month or in December as Christmassy like socks. So that's 10 pairs of socks. I have knit 11 so far. I've got December's to knit, which I will decide tonight what yarn those are going to be and wind that up so I can start tomorrow on that. So last knitting verdict is one that's more recent actually. Excuse me. The Great British Baking Shawl, which was a mystery knit along that just ended a week or two ago. So if you are still working on it and don't want to be spoiled to the final result, please look away for a few minutes. This is a pattern called, the Great British Baking Shawl, designed by Mary Annarella. I did mine in Miss Bab's Yummy 2-ply toes in the Decadence set of colors. Excuse me. This is a kit I bought at SAF, so hey, at least I'm using some SAF purchases already. I knit mine on a US 4 3.5 millimeter needle, and this is my ends are woven in, but I have not blocked mine yet, so that's why they're hanging all over the place. I think I've mentioned this before. I always weave in my ends before blocking, but leave them long until after I have blocked so that they have room to stretch out with the project and stay woven in. And then once it's dry and where I've woven it in, it's, you know, kinked and kind of dried that way and more likely to stay, then I trim them closer. So my ends are woven in, but since I haven't blocked it, I haven't trimmed them yet. So this is a very unique. This was a very unique shawl and construction. I really enjoyed it for that because of that. Um, and it's basically a rectangle, except it's got the soft tooth edge to it. And there were 12 colors. So, and like I said, it was a mystery. She gave you some guidance on how to arrange your colors. And I'm happy with the way mine came out. I'm not sure. I've seen some in the same set of colors that I thought, maybe I should arrange my colors that way. But, it's done. I'm not going to rip it out. And, I like the green and the burgundy and the blue and the brown. And I kind of like the, it's nice that you've kind of got the two different things. So I will probably wear this more as a scarf because it will be maybe probably a little deeper once I block it. I'm not much of a wrap, wear it like a wrap person for warmth. So I will probably wear this more as a scarf, or might even, is it long enough for this? Do it like that. So, and if you do that, then I guess you could probably flip it over the other way if you want more burgundy and green to show. So, yeah, there's a couple different ways to wear it and show different colors and stuff. So, but I like it. It was fun. It was a nice mystery knit along. It was quite a bit of knitting for each clue. I love mystery knit alongs because I like to get a clue, spend a couple days knitting it, and then set it aside without any guilt, knowing that I don't have to worry about it until the next clue comes out. These clues were long enough that it really took me almost the whole week with what knitting time I had to finish each one. So that was a little more knitting than I wanted. It wasn't that it was impossible to do. It just wasn't for me the ideal amount of knitting for a mystery knit along and the time period. So I would have, and the way they were written, I would have either done 8 clues instead of 4 and cut each one in half, or I would have maybe allowed 10 days instead of 7 between each clue. I think would have felt a little less pressure. Not pressure, because it's a mystery knit along. There's no pressure, other than I don't like to get behind. It's pressure I put on myself because I don't want to get behind. So anyway, so that's all the knitting verdicts, but I have one spinning verdict. This spinning has been on my wheel since like the 1st of February. Like I said, I just have not had a lot of time. I have not had a lot of time for spinning, but over the past month or two, I've really tried to put a few minutes here and there on this project that was on my wheel. This is 8 ounces of Three Waters Farms Polworth silk, which is 85 Polworth 15 silk in the quenched colorway. It is 1,548 yards before washing of lace weight. It just got dry, so I haven't measured yet to see how much yardage I lost in washing. I'm guessing it's probably still at least 1,300 yards. So my phone that I use for my camera is not going to capture the gorgeous blue greens that are throughout this. I know I cannot, hints of it there. I know you cannot see the gorgeousness that this is. Like I said, it's lace weight. It's 2-ply. So I would say, of course, I'm not as consistent as a mill, but the weight is very similar to like the Zephyr lace weight. I did not ply extremely tightly because I knew I'm going to use it in a lace project and I wanted to keep the drape. So that, I have not decided on a pattern yet. That is going to be a lace shawl of some sort. I might make Madrona by Romy Hill. I don't know. I can't decide. I'm going to have to swatch a little bit because I can't decide if I need something that has some patches of stockinette to really kind of show it off. Or if I want kind of all over lace. we'll have to see. I'll have to, when I'm ready to really get serious about it, I'll have to wind it up and do a little bit of swatching, a couple of patterns to see what I think. So that is all for verdicts. Let's get into courtesans in session. And I'm not going to show you a ton, but I'm going to show you a few things that I'm working on. A couple for Christmas, sort of. First is called Magic Unicorn Scarf by Lisa Hannon Fox. I am making this for my granddaughter for Christmas. She is 7, and she is all about the unicorns. So this is done in Knit Picks Chroma Fingering in Bear and the Pegasus colorway. And it is, let me pull it up, sorry, I got to pull it, let me show you. So, well, let me show you the pattern first. I'm going to pull enough yarn out that I can hold it up. So this is double knit. Unicorn, that's half. She's 7, so I'm only doing about 48 inches long because they also live in Arizona. I don't think she's going to wear it wrapped around her neck too much. So, and then I've done one chart of the other side, and so there will be one more like this down below that. So, and then of course on the opposite side, it's reversed because it's double knit. So I've got one more chart of that to do for her for Christmas. I am knitting this on a US 2.75 millimeter needle. Like I said, I'm knitting it in Knit Picks Chroma Fingering. In the white is the Bear colorway, and then the multicolor gradient. Well, it's not really gradient, but the multicolor is the Pegasus colorway, with the blues and greens and purples and pinks. I have this in my Fat Squirrel bag, which is very appropriate. A little bit of language here, so if you have a child listening, close their ears. Bitch, please, I'm a unicorn. I could not resist this bag just because I think it's hilarious. And of course, since I was working on a unicorn project as well, it had to be housed in that. So, and again, that is from the Fat Squirrel. And I don't know if I know you can't get this right now. I don't know if you will be able to get it again at any future time. The next project I'm working on is actually a test knit for my friend Joan, who is SS Knits on Ravelry, and I think she's SS Knits Joan on Instagram. But I have permission to show you. So this is a test knit for the Jackson County hat, which is knit in DK. I'm using Cozy Colorworks Superwash Merino DK in the color navy blue. And it's gonna, you can't really see much yet except 4 inches of ribbing. So this is what I spent most of my knitting time yesterday doing. I did spend a little time on the unicorn scarf yesterday, but otherwise I knit 4 inches of ribbing on this hat. And I actually made it, it's going to be a cabled hat. And she's going to release it on Ravelry, I think, in January. So, and I actually knit about the first 8 rows of the chart for cables, and then got an email this morning that she needed to change something on the chart, so I had to rip back this afternoon about 6 rows of knitting to where I had done the first cable cross and fix something that she had adjusted in the pattern. So, but that happens. That's test knitting. Oh, that's sorry, that is being knit on US 4 3.5 millimeter needles for the ribbing, and US 6 4.4 millimeter needles that I have switched to for the cable part. I have one of the Jelby stitch keepers, does she call them? What does she call them? Stitch stoppers. I think that's her website down there, jelby.etsy.com. I have bought a couple of these before. I couldn't find them anywhere, and thankfully my friend Peggy gave me a couple when we were at Carolina Fiber Frolic, just because. So it's a little belted ball with a little stitched on sheep And it just helps hold your needles together so stitches don't come off. And then the last quilting session that I'm going to show you is a scarf that I'm working on for my mom. I'm trying to get this done for Christmas, but she's already seen it. She knows I'm making it, so if I don't, it's not a big deal. This pattern, the pattern that I've kind of adapted a bit is called Big Bad Marl by Nina. The original pattern is written for, I think, a DK or a worsted weight. This is fingering weight, so I basically, the only thing I did really is I just increased till I got more stitches. I'm making this out of Woolfolk Snow in the navy and white colorway, and it's really just a simple, it started at a point and expanded up to whatever your width and then go up, but it has a, I'm doing like an I-cord, you do like an I-cord edge as you knit. This yarn is lovely and soft and so nice to work with. It's navy and cream, and I'm sure it's showing black and white on the screen, but the problem is it's so marled, which is beautiful, but, you know, of course that would obscure any pattern that you did at all. So I had to find something relatively simple. And so what I'm going to do, like I said, you've got the I-cord edge, which shows you, you know, the yarn a little bit differently than just the garter. And then at the points, I'm going to do short, like maybe 2-inch long tassels. So since it's fingering weight, it's kind of lightweight. She's probably going to wear it more a little bit fashion than really for warmth, you know, just light warmth. It's North Carolina. We don't get that cold in the wintertime. So anyway, so that's what I'm working on in that, which kind of segues. Did I say I'm knitting this on a US 4 3.5 millimeter needle? I'm not sure if I said that. If I did, I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry. But that kind of segues a little bit into stashing for retirement, because I have this in my Fringe Supply field bag in bright yellow, which is the exclusive color bag to La Bien-Aimée in Paris, France. I did not get to go to La Bien-Aimée in Paris, France. However, my parents and my sister and her family did back in April. And of course, I was like, oh, well, while you're in Paris, here's an address. Go shop for me. And this was actually the one thing that I asked for, is because I just, again, I can't wear yellow, but I love bright yellow. So I wanted this color in the field bag. So they bought me this in Paris, France in April. And like I said, that segues into stashing for retirement, because the one yarn that I have bought since, or I haven't bought it, since then I wanted to show you, was also purchased for me at La Bien-Aimée in Paris on their trip in April. I have bought so much yarn in the past couple of months. Of course, Saf is always big, and Fiber Frolic, yeah. But anyway, I just want to show you this because it's so gorgeous. I have no idea yet what I'm going to do with it. This is La Bien-Aimée Allure, which is 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. I mean, if you could feel this stuff, it is so soft. It is just, it's like just love on it. It really is. It's fingering weight. It is 437 yards each. This is the Madeline color. This is ash. And this is Yellow Brick Road, which is, again, their yellow is their signature. This goldy yellow is their signature color at La Bien-Aimée. So it was funny. They were actually in the store, and they're like texting me pictures of yarn. You want this? What do you want? And so I had picked out, when I travel shop, and of course I wasn't traveling, but when I get yarn from places like that, I want to get the stuff that I can't necessarily always get at home or in shops at home. So I wanted La Bien-Aimée yarn. You know, Black Mountain Yarn Shop carries it. They're the only shop in North Carolina that I know that carries it, and I'm sure there's some other shops that carry it. But Black Mountain Yarn Shop just started carrying it, I think, in the past couple months. So anyway, these are the two colors I kind of picked out from pictures. And of course, I was trying to be reasonable and not ask them for too much yarn, even though I was planning to pay for it. They didn't let me, but I was planning to pay for it. But I didn't want to like fill up their suitcase with yarn to come home with. But Mom and my sister Julie decided that this color had to go with it as well. I feel like they probably will all three end up in a project of some sort. Obviously, probably some kind of shawl because of the drape in this. But I'm just gonna have to find the absolute perfect project for that because it's just too awesome to not do that. So anyway, little bit of pretrial proceedings. I have got Christmas. So tomorrow's December 1st. I have got 4 messy bun hats I've got to knit for my sister-in-law and 3 nieces that have recently been requested. Excuse me, I've got something in my eye. Yeah, so I've got to knit 4 more hats before Christmas. I need to finish the unicorn scarf, which shouldn't take too long, and I'm hoping to finish my mom's scarf, but again, like I said, she's seen it because I took it Thanksgiving to kind of estimate the length and how long she wanted it, and she bought the yarn specifically for me to make her scarf, so she knew that was coming. Since tomorrow is December 1st, I have one advent calendar that at Carolina Fiber Frolic, several of us brought 25 minis as an advent calendar and swapped with each other. So I have a 25 minis as an advent calendar from that swap that I haven't opened yet. I'm trying to wait till tomorrow at least. I'm planning to do the Cat Vent Cowl 2019 with that. That pattern does require a little bit of contrast in some places. You know, the 2 yarns contrast, so I may end up, I hadn't decided yet if I'm going to sometimes open yarn maybe a day or 2 ahead till I get to something that'll contrast, or whether I'm going to wait, and that's probably what I'll do. I'm thinking, well, I could always wait until I've opened 3 or 4 days before I start, but that's not what I'll do. I'll just open 4 or 5 and and start. So I know that's what I'll do. So I don't even know why I'm pretending like there's another option. Anyway, so I'm planning to start that tomorrow. And excuse me. But other than that, I really have been focusing on trying to kind of finish up some projects and everything. You know, the end of the year, I always want to get a lot of stuff off the needles and stuff. So there's a couple more things I have on the needles, you know, some of which are not going to get finished by the end of the year. But also in the next few weeks, I'll be kind of assessing the things that are on the needles and the ones that have sat for a long time to see if, you know, I want to keep going with them or not. And I'll probably be working on making some goals for 2020. I have fallen very short on my knitting goals for 2019. But, you know, that's life. Again, they're just knitting goals. They're, you know, there's nothing, not the end of the world if I don't make them. So, anyway, I think that's about it. I plan to podcast one more time at least this year. Possibly before Christmas, maybe the week after Christmas. You know, I don't know. It might be twice before the end of the year. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you again. Bye, y'all.